Mitsume ga Tooru brings us to another ending on the Famicom. This is the final Famicom game based on the works of Osamu Tezuka. Tezuka was the most important comic artist and animator in Japan's 20th century, but there weren't an overwhelming amount of Famicom games based on his work. It was basically this, Astro Boy, and Hinotori. The comic Mitsume ga Tooru was about a little boy living in Japan who had a third eye hidden behind a bandage. When the bandage came off, his personality changed and he gained amazing abilities. At the time this game was released, there had been a recent television show based on Mitsume ga Tooru, the first animated series based on Tezuka's work after his death. The Famicom game Mitsume ga Tooru is incredibly rare, and it's one of those games that is highly sought after. It's not only a member of the 10,000 Yen Club, it's a pretty deep member of the 10,000 Yen Club. That's the special club for games where if you're going to buy a cartridge-only copy, it's going to cost you at least 10,000 yen. And in the case of Mitsume ga Tooru, probably closer to 20,000. The plot of Mitsume ga Tooru follows up the comic. The evil Prince Godel, who is another three-eyed boy, has returned and is in the process of conquering the world. Our hero Sharaku is the only one who could possibly stop him. This is a side-scrolling action game, and there are 5 stages that you have to fight your way through. Now 5 stages doesn't sound like a whole lot, but those 5 stages are long. If you're taking your time and trying to maximize your money, it'll take 10 to 15 minutes to get through each of them. As you'd expect, hitting B attacks and A jumps, you attack by firing a beam out of your third eye. And at its default level, it does pretty well for itself. You can fire a burst of 3 shots if you mash fast enough. You can also hold down B to summon Sharaku's spear. This is a pretty crappy weapon normally. It takes a long time to bring out, and you're stuck in place with it. And the damage it does isn't really better than your regular shot. What you really want to use it for is a platform. When you release B, you throw it out and it comes back, and you can jump on top of the spear as it returns. You don't gain much height this way, but having another platform to stand on gets you some distance. Defeated enemies will sometimes drop coins, and while that's good, you can increase the value of the coin by shooting it repeatedly. So as the coins are bouncing, you want to get into a rhythm where you keep them going back up. They'll eventually fade out, but it's usually possible to up a coin 2 ranks before you collect it. There's no time limit on the stages, so there's no reason to not try to boost those coins as high as they can go. What do you need all that money for? Well, sometimes you'll come across Sharaku's girlfriend Wato. She runs a shop for you, and you can buy everything that you need there. Her first aid kits are the only way that you can recover health, which actually makes the fact that the shop is extremely rare kind of annoying. The bird will pull you out of a hole if you fall into it. On the easy difficulty, you can use this as many times as you like, but on normal difficulty, it's 1 use. Then there are the 3 shot upgrades. You switch between these by hitting Start, and then selecting which ability you're using. I normally don't bother getting more than 1 attack power-up. They go away when you die, so they can wind up being a real money sink. The Wave power-up allows you to guide your shots. Holding up or down and then hitting B will have that shot curve. It's very useful for hitting certain targets, and it's probably the best overall choice. Sonic is a high-speed shot. You'll get a lot more out when you mash, but they drift up and down in a wave pattern. They don't curve as dramatically as the wave attack ability, but it gives you a little bit of a different angle. High shot triples what you fire out of your third eye, making you fire 3 beams instead of 1. It's not a bad choice for extra firepower, but that's not usually something you're desperate for. There's also a spear power-up that makes the spear's attack power worth it. You're still rooted in place when you use it though. Finally, if you've saved up enough, then you can purchase extra lives. The only other thing that you can look out for in stages are places where you shoot something invisible. If you hit it enough times, then Shiraku's bird appears, and then it spews out a whole bunch of coins for you. The stage design in Mitsume ga Tooru is extremely good with a wide variety of environments and challenges for you. The game is constantly changing up what you're dealing with. It keeps everything feeling fresh. There's always a new challenge, and that new challenge always lasts just long enough for you to get used to it, and then it's time for the new one. Naturally, there are bosses, and all of the bosses have some kind of gimmick to them. Like on the first boss, he has to get stunned by the statue's shots, then you can hurt him. And on this boss, you have to destroy the meteors that are circling, and that causes it to become vulnerable. Among Famicom fans in Japan, Mitsume ga Tooru is known for being extremely good, extremely rare, and extremely expensive. It's one of those games that people brag about acquiring. And it's one of my favorite Famicom games. I just love how it feels to play it. It's a perfectly assembled game. The only negative comment I have on it is that you really have to save up some money, and that drags things to a halt as you shoot those coins over and over again. But that's not much of a downside. Mitsume ga Tooru is one of the very best Famicom games out there.